All right, hey everyone, what's going on? Needs More Drums back in Grand Keys for another episode of our 100% vanilla build. And again, sorry for the lack of a more detailed intro, but today the city hasn't really made any big plans, any big decisions or anything like that. We are just going to focus on detailing this up. This is going to be, we're going to try to get as much done today as we can. So first things first, I want to detail up the area right by this train station. And then I want to add a big park right here and perhaps a bus terminal. And then I want to detail up some of the, like these open areas here. And that may include adding in some more buildings. And then we'll see what else we want to get to if we have time today. So let's start with the train station. So for this area, the first thing that I'm actually going to do is remove all of the trees. As soon as I get my brush size right, remove all of the trees that are sitting around this little area. So what we're going to do is we're going to add sort of a kind of a narrow trail and a nice tree line along the back side of this here. And then with the front, we'll detail this up with some bushes and some trees. And then we might even add in a couple of pocket parks, you know, kind of in between, maybe one in the middle, maybe a couple on the corners. So let's just kind of see what comes of this. We'll first start by dragging out our pathway. I'm going to go ahead and turn off most of the snapping for this just because it's going to look a lot better. And we're able to design everything a little bit more freely. And yeah, and as you can see, that's not perfectly symmetrical everywhere, but I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to be a little bit random in some places. And we'll also go back and add some connecting points kind of in the middle here to some of these city blocks at some of these cross streets. And that should be fine for now. So I did say that I was going to maybe add in some pocket parks, and I might do that. I might see if I can replace this corner with one, but we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Let's go ahead and actually get some trees down though. And for this, I'm actually going to use a combination of trees and some bushes to sort of make a hedge. I want to just create a natural border along the train here so that people, you know, obviously one, won't be able to get onto the tracks, and two, it's not just like an eyesore just looking at this plain train track and train station here from this, if you're living in one of these buildings, you know, I mean, obviously you could see through it or over it if you're living on one of the top floors. Let's just go ahead and make sort of a natural barrier here. And now that I think about this, I probably should have done this before I dragged out my pathways, but we're gonna see. We're gonna figure it out. Maybe we can even do something a little bit more random. All right, and so just some simple trees and pathways around here, some of my go-to detailing tricks. And I actually was thinking about something as I was placing some of these down. I think we're gonna actually go back and kind of delete some of this. And we're actually gonna drag a pedestrian path over this train line, because when you really look at it, you know, people are, if they want to get to here from like here, they have to walk all the way around this parking garage. This would, you know, cut about like a block off of their commute if they could do something like that. So we're gonna just make something pretty quick and simple. And I did check that 8.75 is enough to actually clear the top of this. So we're just gonna drag this kind of to like right about here. And look at that. I think we can actually, no, we can't. I was gonna say, I think we could do this without getting rid of any of the trees, but we cannot. But that's fine. And there we go. There is our pedestrian path for now. And actually, you know what I might do? I might actually go ahead and upgrade this with like a cool, like a nice bridge. Well, can't do that one. I don't really like the look of that. I guess we can't really do that one either. So never mind my suggestion. We're just gonna leave it like that for now. It's functional. It's functional. It's okay. I am, however, going to remove this crossing because I don't want people, there's really no reason for people to cross there. They can go and cross right there if they need to. All right, now let me just fix some of the things that I had removed. And there we go, that's looking all right. So now what we could do here, we could do something a little bit different. And like I said, maybe we can throw in like some kind of pocket park here. We have like some of these longer ones, like these modern ones that might look kind of nice in this area. Maybe one of these canopy covered ones even. We could do something like one of these square ones, except I kind of don't want it to be right up against the train tracks, since that would be, one, not the safest, and two, just, I mean, it just doesn't really look the best. I would like to have some kind of natural border around here. So we could do something maybe like that one will fit nicely there. You can see we have the surface that is extended over here a little bit. So we could do something kind of nifty, I think, with this. Maybe just throw like a different kind of tree right here. Actually, we can go ahead and drag out some bushes, create a little border. And again, maybe just place down a couple of different trees. And there we go. We have a nice little pocket park. And honestly, why don't we do the same for this corner? Not too bad if I say so myself. Nice way to fill the space, make something a little bit practical. And now let's go ahead and detail up the front side of the train station. So what we're going to do again is just do some simple, pocket parks and things. And for this one, actually, I could do something maybe with one of these longer parks, if I can find one that goes sort of left to right. I guess, is this the only one that we can do that with? Oh no, we can do it with this one too, which is nice. One of these wide pocket parks, which is the same one that we use over here, isn't it? Yes, it is. But honestly, I kind of don't mind. Or we can even do something a little bit more, a little bit custom. Why don't we do something like, why don't we try that? Let's do a little custom park here. So I'm gonna just jump into a quick time lapse and kind of do something with some pathways and some surfaces and see if I can get something that looks relatively decent. Yeah, and there we go. I am not too disappointed with that, actually. These pocket parks worked out perfectly with the texture. It matched for both of them, so didn't have to mess with that at all. And then this one's different, but I think it's fine considering that this is kind of standing on its own. I wanted a little like cafe somewhere over here so people can, you know, grab a snack kind of in the city center. But I think it looks nice. It's a little bit open, but you know, it's a little more modern. You know, kind of like a nice modern plaza. So I think it turned out well. And we have these crosswalks here so that people can easily get to the main road. And then this area is a little bit dense with some trees, but you know what? I think it's fine to have a cool little nice spot of green space, you know, amongst all this open space. We have this real like nice dense rush area. So I like that. I think this spot has turned out pretty well, in my opinion. I like it a lot. And now I think I want to move on to upgrading some roads. So I love tree-lined streets. I think that they make or break a city, and you can see like all of the roads in the city right here are just, you know, they all have parking, they all have sidewalks, and we have a parking garage here, although it's full, well, almost full. It was full at one point, but I think that we can get rid of some of the street parking in favor of some street trees. And so to do that, I'm going to start with this main road here, and this is a great way to just make kind of unique, like certain spots feel unique in your city, is to switch up the kinds of street trees that you use. So I think for here, we'll do a center median, and then we will do trees in the middle. And for these, I think these chestnuts are really nice. They're a really nice size. They're a little bit bigger, but I think that they work really well as like a center median tree, and you could tell they just, yeah, they look nice. And those are some of the ones that we use here as well. These are chestnuts right here and here. And I want to stay away from, you know, using too big of trees. Like I'm not going to use oaks or anything in the center median. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. So yeah, so we'll have that there. And then I think going down here, I might leave these couple as just some grass. I don't think I'm going to do any street trees over here. And I don't even know if I'm going to keep these buildings. I'll think about that. But same with that one there. This one actually I could throw I'll throw the chestnuts in there as well. I like that a lot. Or maybe not. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a different tree. We're going to do some small ones there. And then same with this here. We'll do these same trees to give it a little bit of a contrast. You know, when you pull into the main downtown, the trees change. That kind of shows that you're in the city center. I like that. But then for this street here, I think what we'll do is we'll grass line the sides. And then we will do the trees along the sides for this road. So we got a little bit of contrast. I like that. And then for the roads in here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do tree-lined streets on one side, because this is a one-way street and I do want to have some parking in here. So I might just do the tree-lined streets. We'll do something, let's do something kind of interesting here. So let's do something like on the right side. Actually, no, we'll do it on the left because I feel like it's easier to parallel park on your right. It's a little bit more natural. So we'll leave the parking on the right side. And actually here, I'm not going to do any street trees there because these are just regular roads. I think I might leave those as parking. Instead, I'll do some street trees that road there on the cross street. Same with these. I think I might leave these as they are with the parking, because this is kind of a congested area, so it is nice to have a little bit of parking. And also, I think I might do some street trees here as well, since this is kind of going to be a little park area. I don't really want to have cars parked along the side of this road. And I think that is looking a little bit better. And now I want to go and fill in this park area. This is something that didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. And same with this. This is going to be different as well. I kind of am not a fan of I just plopped down some of these because we needed some sort of, you know, commercial area, and we have a couple of little offices, but I think this could really use some love, and we can make this something kind of cool. So let's go ahead and delete. We'll dezone these buildings, and we'll actually delete this road as well. And I might even be so tempted as to turn this into like a urban promenades block with maybe some other medium density buildings as well, because I do plan to build a university here. So having some dense buildings close to the city center, even if they're medium density, I think would work out really nicely. But first, let's go ahead and build this park. So we're going to start with, I think this hedge park is going to fit really well wherever it is. This one. We could place this one down and then kind of work off of it. And it fits right in here between these. It's the perfect size for the city block. So I think that's a good start for us. We'll place that down. And then over here, I actually want to place down a bus terminal, because I figured that people will come in here on the buses, and then we can have, you know, some buses that run along the downtown and then another bus that goes to the university. And so we'll have our own little bus network, or maybe the same bus, who knows, but we'll have our own little bus network for this small city, which, by the way, thank you guys for voting for a name. Groovesville so far has the lead, and I think I'm gonna probably, you know, unofficially close the poll, and we'll keep that as the name for the city. But we'll get to that a little bit later when we do some districts and stuff. I'm not gonna name it quite yet. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have this come off of this road like so. I'm tempted to see if I can do like a, yeah, I did realize we could do a one-way bus line. Maybe we'll do something like that, kind of coming off of here. The only problem is I don't want these buses to have to make like a left. And I feel like I need to almost put the bus terminal here, kind of closer to this, so that they can come onto the street and still have some time to make a left here. And if I do end up making this an asymmetric road, if it gets too crowded, I want them to be able to have enough time to get into that turn lane. So I might just do something like this. And with that being said, this grassy median, or this grassy part, is not really going to be best. I think we'll do a wide sidewalk. We'll remove the trees there for this side. And then for the rest of this area, though, I think we can actually add in some more buildings along this road. I think some of these urban promenades ones would be cool because they do have some nice corner pieces. And of course, now my grid is not in line with the road. Let's see if we can fix that. Let's see if we can just upgrade this road here. If I can just redrag this out and make this line up properly. Sometimes this works, believe it or not. Well, you know, it's going to be close enough. We're going to zone it, and we're going to see if it gives us a corner piece. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be the most upset. So it is going to give us a corner piece there, but it's not going to give us anything here, which is okay because we could make this work. We could do like a pathway over here or something cool. I think that'll be fine. Yeah, and I don't know why I have these low density buildings here, but I think these could be upgraded as well to some mixed use. I'm going to upgrade those to some Southwest mixed use. Actually, maybe we'll go for, I can get some urban promenades in here as well. See what kind of buildings spawn. You know what? I changed my mind again. Maybe it's vanilla. I want something that actually fits in this space. There we go. That'll work. That'll work for us. So now let's go ahead and just detail up this area, and we'll make a cool little park. We'll use the combination of some surfaces, some trees, maybe even throw in a couple pocket parks if we can. So let's just go ahead and jump into another quick time lapse. See what happens. All right, well, what do you think about that? I am not too unhappy about this at all. Got a nice little bit of open green space with our services here, but also plenty of trees. I love trees. Sometimes I feel like I sometimes overdo it, but honestly, I live in Chicago and there's a lot of parks in Chicago and there's trees everywhere, so we do have some open green space here, even here. Actually, I could probably get rid of a couple of these if I'm being honest. That's fine. Give people some space to run around or whatever. Even here, maybe. I kind of like it. We're going to leave it. Perfect. So next up, I think we'll knock out these few areas, kind of like right here, because these have been bugging me for a while and I don't really know exactly what to put here. I do know that I want to get rid of these trees though. So originally I didn't actually want to zone on these roads, but now that I'm kind of reconsidering it, I think we could do a little bit of zoning and then a little bit of just some filling in the gaps with like some green space. So like, for example, like right here, this is a perfect spot to put some, you can go for some older buildings, maybe some medium density New England or Northeast, I guess, for that matter. We'll do something like that. See if we can get some smaller buildings, kind of, I didn't really want to do row houses, but I think something like that might be kind of nice. And then we could fill this in with a park. And then same thing over here. We could do something kind of nice here on the corner. Maybe have a nice residential building here. We'll do a bigger Northeast one. How about that? Even though it'll only give us a 3x3. I want something bigger. There we go. Perfect. Something like that, and then we can fill in some of these gaps. And maybe here we can even do some mixed use. Maybe we'll do something like this and just see what spawns. I think this might be one of those cool, like the newer looking one, like the condo looking one, and that would be perfect for right here. And then again, we could just fill in these areas with some parks. Somebody said I should try to do some different kind of parks in my cities instead of just the basketball courts, and I totally agree. I get carried away with putting down basketball courts. The colors are really bold and they don't look the best, but they're really practical, which is why I put them down a lot. But we could do something a little bit different. I wanted to do like a skate park, but I don't know if that's going to fit right here. If it doesn't fit here, we can put it somewhere else. But maybe for now, I don't know, we might have to do... Nope, that's not going to work. Since this is an extension of the school kind of already has a playground, so I don't really want to put a playground. And even if I did this upgrade, it'll still keep... Actually, it wouldn't. It wouldn't keep the playground. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and put a playground down right here. That might be a nice addition to this area. We'll do a large playground, because why not? And then, since that's there, we can actually fit in... I think we can fit in another building here. We'll just see what spawns there. And I wanted to leave some room for a pathway. So essentially what I'm trying to do is we can connect up some of these areas here. So we can have a pathway that goes from here. And we can just wrap around like so. And that'll be a nice way to kind of connect all of this up. People can walk from the school to their homes. And that's a cool building. I really haven't seen this one before. I like that a lot. That's perfect for this kind of like Main Street downtown look that I'm going for. I like it. I really like that. That's perfect. But yeah, here though, I actually don't really know what to put here. I'm tempted to put some kind of a like mixed use because I don't really want to go full on like low density commercial. Maybe I do. Maybe this is where we do put down some low density commercial and just kind of fill in the gaps. I think, yeah, you know what? Why not? Do that. But yeah, this is turning out okay if I say so myself. I'm not too disappointed with this. Just going in here and just spending a little bit of time. I know this isn't a super eventful episode, but just spending some time to kind of get into the details really pays off, when you look at it. And I mean, like, even just this train station right here, I really like how this area turned out. It looks lively now. We have some nice trees. We have some people walking around the parks. I love it. So we'll come back as these buildings spawn in here. We'll come back and detail that up. But for now, I think we'll focus our attention on just kind of, so, some of these like awkward corners and like some of these areas where we can use some trees. So like here we have these open spaces. I don't really plan on putting anything here. You can see we have this big zone here that's just kind of empty. So just filling in these spots with some trees is really going to make, these areas kind of feel more alive. And let's go ahead and do that. We'll just fill in some of these awkward corner spots kind of while these rest of these buildings spawn in, and then we'll begin to work our way kind of around some of these areas. Again, just using some pathways and surfaces. So like, for example, like right here, we can delete some of these trees. Like right here, this can even be a good spot for another building. And I think we'll do some kind of residential zone right here. Or, well, it is backed up to the train track. Maybe we can do some kind of office if we get a small one. I don't want anything that's extremely tall. Actually, I'm a little bit nervous to do something like that. Let's do like a UK apartment. Now let's just go ahead and fill in some of these gaps. Actually, before we do that, I found a spot for my skate park. We can do something right here, and I know I'm going to delete this building, but I don't really care because it's just a regular commercial building that will spawn in probably anyways. So yeah, I'm not mad about that. Let's put down this skate park right here, right by the high school. Very cool spot, in my opinion. Very practical, and I am liking the way that that is looking for something something different. You know, we don't have any of those in the city. And then here, I actually think I am going to go ahead and fill in some more of these areas with some more commercial because we do have the demand, and we can just be mindful about our zoning. We won't zone too close to the highway, but I think that'll add some nice, again, just some liveliness to this area, and we'll fill in these gaps with some trees. All right, and so I've done a little bit of work behind the scenes here and got some spots kind of cleaned up. This is actually a lot, you know, this is doing stuff like this. It's very tedious and it just takes a lot of time. I know it doesn't really make for the best episode worthy content, but you know, this is something that had to get done, and I'm glad that I recorded this because hopefully you guys can kind of see, you know, some of my little detailing tricks, like just adding some surfaces, some trees, and, you know, some props and pathways and things to just make this area feel more complete. And I think that we've done that. You know, we lined these streets with some nice trees. We have this nice park area now and some, you know, modern, well, I guess these aren't very modern, but, you know, some of these urban promenades buildings here, and then some old residential buildings here, just kind of private, very, very nice views here. You figure these will be a little bit more maybe expensive to live in. But overall, yeah, I'm happy with the progress that we've made. And I think I'm actually going to go ahead and call it here for an episode. Like I said, I know it doesn't look like we've done much, but when you really look into some of the little, you know, some of the subtle areas here, you can see where we've made some improvements. And I think off camera, I'm going to do some work kind of around this highway and kind of detail this up. I think I might move these on-ramps and stuff a little bit too. They're a little bit, you know, kind of far. I feel like this is like some wasted space here. So I could see without move it and everything, it's kind of difficult to get something like this just right. But I think we can kind of play around with this a little bit and see if we can, you know, adjust these intersections accordingly and get something a little bit more urban, I think is the way that I'm going to go about that. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and call it here for today. In the next episode, I'm not entirely sure, as I feel like I say this every time, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do yet, but I think it's going to have something to do with this area. Maybe we'll build, I know I talked about like a university, maybe we'll do that. We don't actually have a proper university in the region yet, so it would be nice to do something like that, you know, to do something beneficial for the region. We have tons of money, we're making tons of money too, so we definitely have room for some investments. And that actually reminded me, I do want to spend some time on city services too. So if we don't build a university, next episode will be a city service episode where we'll kind of take a step back, rebalance some things, and make some adjustments to fit to accommodate this new growth here and over in this city as well. You can see we have some garbage issues. I know we talked about building like a recycling center, so we'll see what we decide to do. But I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. Sorry for the lack of videos lately. I've just had a lot going on, you know, outside of YouTube, I guess, you know, work, gigs are coming up. I've had a lot of practices, so a lot of my free time has just been away from my computer, and I haven't had time to, you know, record and edit. So just bear with me. The next couple of weeks are going to be, you know, still pretty busy, but hopefully I'll be able to make some time to keep the episodes coming. So thank you guys for the support. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.